Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2020-21 season. My name is Dan and today we're going to do a team selection video / a review of last week's scores and then look at some potential transfers that I could be making. Some of you will know that I've got 2 transfers in the bank right now and first early thoughts on captaincy as well. Before we get started, please do consider subscribing if you're new around here. I know about 50% of you are not subscribed to this channel, and please do leave a like if you do enjoy the video. But before we have a look at last week's scores, I have actually got a sponsor for this video. So with the Premier League back, that means it's time to throw on your club shirt and make sure you don't take a nasty tackle below the waist. My new partners at Manscape are here to save your boys from taking on a hurricane shot from distance. So you stay clean and you take care of yourself where it matters most. So you can get 20% off and free shipping with the code FPLMate at manscape.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscape.com and use code FPLMate. All one word. This football season, upgrade your back line of defence and choose Manscaped for your most important male grooming needs. So here we have my wonderful animated pitch here to hypnotise you with my scores from last week. A little bit disappointing. You guys will notice immediately that this is very disappointing. Now, obviously I didn't take a hit, but obviously this score is sort of slightly below average. It's strange because this is the exact same team I lined up with last week, and I got, I think, 86 points last week, and the exact same team, 43 points this week. So it really does show how quickly things can change and how you can occasionally get some anomalies. And I do think there were some anomalies in this, I guess, game week score, but you can see overall rank has slipped ever so slightly. I've dropped around 300,000 places. I do think I can easily make that back up in 1 week, if not more than that, and we will get back on track to get our hopefully top 10,000 finish. But yeah, we've got a little work to do, but let's run through the team quickly. So Martinez, obviously very strange, Aston Villa being such a good defensive team for a few games now. They come up against Leeds and Leeds batter them 3-0. I feel like that's the 3-0 score didn't fully reflect the actual game. I feel like Grealish could have very easily got a goal there, and he obviously ended up on 1 point. So that's a kind of I guess I consider myself a little bit lucky there. Defence went really well. Chillwell and Aling looked really good. Robertson, again, unlucky. Sheffield United getting that penalty right on the edge, a centimetre either way, and that's not a penalty if the foul's taken place, a centimetre away from where it was taken. So absolute madness. Salah, he had a really good chance as well. I think he might have had 2 really good chances. There was one in particular I do remember that Trent Alexander-Arnold could have potentially got the assist on there as well. So yeah, a captaincy that it's fine margins. I can't pretend to you that Everton deserved to get anything out of that game against Southampton. They didn't, so their low scores are kind of justified. They just didn't do well. Morpay should have scored in the first half there. I think Sam Johnston, the name of the West Brom goalkeeper, pulled out a wicked save with his feet to deny Morpay. So Morpay should have really got a goal there as well. So overall, I kind of feel a little bit hard done by. And the scores on the field that you see right now in front of you don't fully reflect how good this team is. So for that reason, and because of all these close encounters, chances missed, and on another week it could be a monster score. For that reason, I'm not gonna panic. There's no need to panic because the team played really well. They just didn't get the FPL points. I know at the end of the day we want the FPL points, but if players are playing well, Grealish is playing well, Salah is playing well, Robertson is playing well, Morpay is playing well, then why would I remove him from my team? So I do still have full confidence in my team. Maybe Dominic Calvert-Lewin disappointed a little bit, James Rodriguez as well. Kane and Son, they kind of struggled a little bit against Burnley, but they did both get goal contributions, as they seem to do every single week at the moment. And I think overall it's still looking good despite the fact that I only got 43 points. So no panic stations yet. It's okay. Let's move on to how I'm going to line up this game week. You guys know, obviously, I have 2 free transfers to use right now, 0.1 million in the bank. So I'm going to line up first how I would line up if I was to use 0 transfers. Then we'll go over some transfers that I could possibly make to try and improve my team, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So let's move on to the blank pitch of doom. So, in goal, we're going to start off with Martinez. Up against Southampton. Southampton actually seem to be massively improved at the moment. Really liking the look of them a lot, which is crazy because, you know, first few games we thought, oh no, Southampton, you know, that they're not off to a great start here, are they? They're showing some fragilities. But Martinez still, it's a home game for Aston Villa. Before the Leeds game, Aston Villa did look really, really good defensively. So I still think Martinez is the best keeper to have. He's making loads of saves as well, which is always really nice. So you're picking up save points, you're picking up clean sheet points. He's a great keeper to have, and yeah, full happiness in him right there. Robertson in defence up against West Ham United. Are West Ham going to be able to score against Liverpool? You would say potentially so. Fabinho out now. You know, who else is out? Van Dijk, obviously, long term. Alisson, is he going to be back for this game week? I'm not sure that he is. I think he's potentially coming back in next game week, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But you know, there's a few defensive injuries there, so we're counting on Robertson getting some attacking returns. West Ham's defence actually pretty good recently, so I'm not fully sure that Robertson is going to pick up a monster score this game week. It's going to be tough, but it's a home game and it's Liverpool. There could very easily be a clean sheet there, and there could very easily be, you know, a nice assist or something from Robertson. Liverpool do like to score some goals, don't they? So we'll see about that. I'd never take Robertson out of my starting 11. He's my expensive premium defender, isn't he? So we'll move on to Ben Chillwell. Ben Chillwell is, I think, one of the most important players in my team right now. Just because he's a slight differential. He's not a massive differential. Still, a lot of people don't have him yet. And I do recommend, if you don't have him, to try and pick Ben Chillwell up if you can. Because his next 3 fixtures are amazing. I think it's Burnley, Newcastle and Sheffield United all in a row. These 3 teams obviously really struggling to score goals at the moment, aren't they? So, because of that, someone like Ben Chilwell in defence for Chelsea, who are really improved defensively when they've got Edouard Mendy in goal, particularly, and you know, all their defenders fit and firing as usual. Ben Chilwell's going to be picking up assists, picking up clean sheets, but he's also going to be picking up assists because his assist potential is so high because he plays so far up the pitch, he makes so many crosses, he tries to create so many chances. He's exactly what we're looking for in terms of FPL defenders, a defender that really plays far further forward in a team that can keep clean sheets. It's basically, you know, the Robertson / Trent Alexander-Arnold mould of last season. They fit the bill perfectly, and I think this season Chilwell is looking like he could fit that bill, and he's got some really nice fixtures coming up too. So next up, Luke Aling in defence there against Leicester at home. I do like Aling at home against Leicester just because, you know, first of all, it's a home game. You know, always nice to pick a home game, isn't it? And second of all, Leicester, I don't think, are offering too much in terms of attack at the moment. I mean, I've been saying all season that most of Leicester's goals, or about half of Leicester's goals so far this season, have come from penalties. So the penalties seem to have dried up completely in the Premier League now. So assuming that Leeds don't concede any penalties, they could be on for a clean sheet here. They've been playing really well defensively. I've been liking the look of them. Perhaps they were kind of lucky to keep a clean sheet against Aston Villa on Friday. But still, their defence is not nearly reflective of a newly promoted team. They're actually not bad defensively at all. Far better than perhaps some of the stats, the literal stats suggest. The underlying stats make Leeds look a little bit better. So, yeah, I do think there is definitely potential for Luke Aling or Dallas, if you have Dallas in your team, to do well. But yeah, we'll move on to the midfield. And first of all, we've got Salah. Salah is going nowhere, of course. I don't think I can take Salah out. His price seems to be going up and up and up. He's almost 50% owned now. He's a captaincy option every week, even though last week didn't quite go to plan, which was kind of unlucky. I think Salah was still the right choice to go in as captain. Maybe Kane was a good choice as well. And Son, of course, but you know, Salah a little bit disappointed last week in terms of points, but he still looks really positive. He still looks really good, so I do want to continue with Salah in my team. I've got nothing in my head tells me that he needs to go. He's got West Ham. Is there goals in there for him in that game against West Ham? I think there definitely is, to be fair. So yeah, let's see what happens. It's Salah's turn to haul, isn't it? If it goes Mane then Salah, then Mane then Salah, this means it's Salah's turn. When he's at home, he often scores a lot of points, so we like the look of that, and let's see how Salah does. Son against Brighton and Hove Albion, I quite like. Although, to be honest, and I have to be honest here, guys, I've been looking at the stats, I've been crunching some numbers, and Brighton look pretty good defensively right now. I'm not going to lie to you. Literally one of the best, if not the best, team in the Premier League so far in terms of how well they've been doing defensively. Really impressive. But, you know, on the other hand, you could say they've had some really quite favourable fixtures recently, haven't they? So maybe that comes into play. when they come up against a tough opponent, maybe they might struggle. Tottenham obviously in amazing form right now with Son and Kane doing really, really well. So yeah, I do think Son's going to get points, but I don't think you should rush to think, oh my God, Son and Kane are going to haul again this week against Brighton. I think Brighton are perhaps a little bit better than you perhaps think. Let's see what happens there. They've been looking good statistically in terms of their defence anyway. But yeah, we'll see. James Rodriguez next against Newcastle away. Newcastle away is a really nice fixture. Newcastle are looking like one of the teams that is likely to concede the most goals. Rodriguez, on the other hand, is unfortunately flagged at the moment. Now, I know he's only got a few points in recent weeks, but he's still taking shots. In that last game he played against Southampton, he took the most shots out of any Everton player. Admittedly, that was only 2 shots, but still, that makes him the biggest threat in that game. I don't think he played too bad against Liverpool either, despite the fact that, you know, he's sort of half injured all the time, coming back from international duty. I don't think he's been playing that bad recently. Especially considering the circumstances, and I do expect him to get back to his best, particularly in this much nicer game against Newcastle. But this is, of course, assuming he plays. We've got to wait for late injury news and see how likely he is to play in this game against Newcastle. But, you know, Everton are missing quite a few creative players right now, so I do think Rodriguez should play if he is even, you know, not if he's like 80% fit, 90% fit. He should play in this game because Everton don't really have many other options right now. And then finally in my midfield, I've got Jack Grealish. Again, Jack Grealish is a player who hasn't scored any points the last couple of game weeks. Coincidentally, the game weeks that I've owned him for, which is a little bit disappointing. But every single game he plays, he looks really, really likely that he's going to score, that he's going to create an assist. He really is the main man by far at that Aston Villa side. So let's see what happens against Southampton. Obviously, Southampton have been kind of up and down. They've been looking really good more recently. But you know what? Aston Villa have been looking really good recently as well, other than, of course, their blip against Leeds. They still look good in that game. So I do think Grealish has definitely got some potential to score some points there. But we'll see, I guess. Obviously, it hasn't happened for a couple of game weeks now, but Grealish is so on the edge of getting some FPL points. He's so on the edge. He's so due some FPL points. So let's see what happens. I really think he can score some points. Up front, we've got Harry Kane, first of all, against Brighton. You know, this is another really good captaincy option, as Kane seems to be every single week. Look, I've spoken a little bit about Brighton already, but Kane statistically is just looking fantastic. Last game against Burnley was the first game I've looked at his stats in an individual game and thought, okay, that wasn't so amazing. Like, he wasn't shooting as much, he wasn't creating as much as he had done in previous games, but you can't just use one game in isolation to try and prove an entire value of a player, can you really? You have to look at the data over a larger scale. And yeah, on a larger scale, Kane has been, quite frankly, the most creative, arguably the most likely to score goals in each given match. He's looked absolutely amazing and, you know, looks so good for FPL points. So he's a definite must-have in your team, at least for the next couple of game weeks. And then we can perhaps think about moving him on when Spurs' fixtures do look a little bit worse. But I mean, you know, when a player is in this good form, you don't care about the fixture, you just care about their form. Because if you're in good form, you'll score against anyone, won't you? Especially if you're, you know, the main striker in form, or, you know, not just the main striker, the main creative force as well, in an in-form top side in the Premier League. You can score against anyone. I do expect Kane to score against anyone right now, even if it's just an assist or, you know, or a goal. He's going to score points. He's proven that very consistently now, and I expect that to continue. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, a little bit disappointing actually in that game against Southampton. He didn't really get a sniff at goal at all. I don't think he took a single shot, in fact, which is, yeah, really, really disappointing. But, you know, other than that, like I said, you can't judge players on one game week. My last game week score sort of reflected that a lot of players that have been playing consistently well all season have had a blip. Just a few players had a blip. Some of them were actual blips. Some of them were just, you know, they did play really well. It's just unlucky that the ball didn't happen to find itself in the back of the net, or like on this particular game week. But in another game week, it absolutely would be a goal. You know, Johnston, you know, doesn't make that amazing save that he did against Morpay. You know, Grealish could have very easily scored. Salah could have very easily scored. On another game week, those go in. It's not quite the same situation with Calvert-Lewin because he didn't actually even play kind of particularly well. And maybe Everton are lacking a little bit in the creativity now. They've, you know, Dino sent off, Richarlison's out, Rodriguez is not at his 100% right now. Perhaps there is lacking a little bit of creativity. Coleman as well at right back. who would be whipping in those crosses for Dominic Calvert-Lewin to get the head on. Yeah, potentially they are lacking a little bit in creativity there, and that's why Calvert-Lewin didn't do so well. But Newcastle is a really, really nice game to be playing in if you're a forward. So, but I back him. And then Morpay against Spurs. Spurs typically cannot keep a clean sheet. I know Burnley couldn't score against them, but Burnley kind of looked likely to score against them at some point. And we're talking about Burnley, who are a team who typically do struggle to score goals. So yeah, I do think there are goals to be had against Spurs. That's been kind of proven all season. Morpay, his numbers look good. His underlying stats look good. He didn't score in the last couple of game weeks, but he still looked really, really likely to score. You know, these sort of, you know, he's fine margins a lot of the time, and I do think, you know, as soon as I take more payout, he's going to score because he's so due a goal. So that's what's going to happen this game week. That's what I'm predicting. He's going to score against Spurs away. Let's see it happen. And then on my bench here, we've got Forster, obviously. Kyle Walker-Peters against Aston Villa. Not sure I fancy him. I think I slightly prefer Luke Aling out of the two. Not much in it though. Alan Saint-Maximin at home against Everton. Potentially I could be thinking about Alan Saint-Maximin at home against Everton. Not sure. We'll see. I mean, I guess if Rodriguez does turn out to be injured, maybe I can just play Saint-Maximin instead. And see how he does there. So just so I don't have to transfer James Rodriguez out and then back in again, wasting 2 transfers in the process. Seems kind of silly, right? And then Ferguson, my long-standing injured guy on the bench. So 2 transfers to use. Where do I use them? Where do I use them? Because you can see how I like my team right now. But I got to use a transfer. I can't burn a transfer. You can only stack a maximum of 2 transfers at any given time. So if I don't make a transfer, I lose it. So use it or lose it, guys. So what I'm thinking, this is my thinking. So assuming James Rodriguez is completely fit, then I won't use a transfer on him. We'll keep him in. Assuming no one gets injured, you know, some players could potentially get injured in European football. Son, Kane, maybe. Does Chillwell play tonight? I think he might do. So he could potentially get injured as well. If these things happen, then obviously I will use a transfer on any injured players. I think that's pretty sensible. As long as it's, you know, unless it's like a tiny injury, then I perhaps wouldn't. So that's what I'd be using these transfers for. So for saving them for that. Assuming that everything else is completely fine, all good in the hood. I've got 2 options really. I can either bring in Mikel Antonio at West Ham this week, who plays against Liverpool. Kind of a tough fixture, right? I guess I'd take out Morpay. He seems the obvious one, but like I said, the moment I take Morpay out, he will score. So that's kind of something I'm not fully convinced I want to do, but it does also depend on Antonio's fitness because we're not 100% sure if he's fit. So I have to check that out later, nearer to the deadline, to see how he's doing, how likely is it that he's going to play. Check out the press conferences and stuff, which I will let you guys know, probably on a deadline stream, what's going on there, on Twitter, obviously, if you want to follow me on there. And the other option is to just make a transfer for the future. And the player I'm talking about non-stop on this channel right now, who you will probably know this name by now if you've watched me before, is Soufal, Vladimir Soufal at West Ham. It's the West Ham new right back. I think he's looking really good. I think, you know, as West Ham get some really nice fixtures in the future, and their fixtures after this Liverpool game look fantastic, by the way, West Ham. I really want to jump on some West Ham players. I really, really do. So I could use my transfer on either taking out Aling or Kyle Walker-Peters and bringing in Soufal. Yeah, just leaving Soufal on the bench right now, and you know, preparing for the future, making a transfer ahead of time, getting one week ahead of everyone else essentially, which is something that really appeals to me. So let's assume I'm doing that. I would be taking out Aling. Okay, I'll be taking out Aling because one, Kyle Walker-Peters rotates much nicer in terms of the nice fixtures. You know, Soufal and Kyle Walker-Peters sort of rotating who has the nicest fixtures in each given game week. So we can get lots and lots of green opponents for my third defender, basically. And also Southampton, looking at the stats today, it was like, wow, Southampton actually look amazing in terms of defensive numbers, in terms of expected goals conceded. And they've not even had particularly easy games either. So, yeah, really liking the look of Southampton defending right now. So I don't want to get rid of Kyle Walker-Peters, which unfortunately means I got to get rid of my man Aling. Ailing's got to go. So yes, assuming my poor man Aling is going out the window, this is sort of how I'd line up. So the bench would be sort of moved around a little bit. So Alan Saint-Maximin would go to my first bench option, Soufal would go to my second bench option, and Kyle Walker-Peters would come onto the pitch and occupy that third defensive area. Like I said, they're looking good defensively. I still think away from home, Jack Grealish could potentially do some damage, but if he doesn't do some damage, disappoints me once again. I've got the clean sheet covered, and you know, Kyle Walker-Peters is always potential there for some attacking returns as well. He does like to get up the pitch, doesn't he? And you know, create some chances. So this is kind of how I'm looking at most likely, assuming there's no bad injuries, assuming James Rodriguez can play. Even if he can play, Alan Saint-Maximin probably comes on in his stead. This is what I'm looking to do. So no real transfers, no real changes on the field. One change on the bench, and then moving on to next week, I'm suddenly in an amazing position, and we'll perhaps look to get a couple of West Ham players in. That's what I'm looking at the most, and we'll do that next week. So really excited about that. Right now, in terms of captaincy, my initial thoughts without doing very much research at all is Kane captain and Salah as the vice captain, which is kind of, I'm using sort of Salah and Kane pretty much every game week and just switching them, hopefully picking the right one on the lottery out of the two of those guys. But this week I'm going to go for Kane over Salah. I might change my mind. Obviously, I will make a video on captains, and I'll do that tomorrow because we've got a Friday deadline this week. So I'll do a Friday live stream. I'll do Thursday, which is tomorrow. I'll do the captains video. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already, so you can see that video. And I can let you know what my final captain decisions are, and try and help you choose your best captain as well. Pick some different players from some different teams and all that. But yeah, aside from that, please do like the video if you enjoyed what you saw today. Yeah, this video was indeed sponsored by Manscape. I do want to quickly show you the product because I do think it is really cool. This is their epic razor for shaving your private areas, I suppose. And I want to show you this because I think it's a really cool feature, and it's this little light that comes on there, which you can use. But yeah, I don't often take sponsorships on this channel. I don't think I have done one in, you know, 2 months now. I've only done a few ever. But yeah, I do want to try and improve the channel, and that's going to mean taking some sponsorships now and again. Hopefully products you like. I'll only pick products that I think are completely ethical, products that I'm genuinely interested in, and I think you guys will be interested in too. So yeah, if you do want to check out manscape.com and have a look at what they have to offer, do use my code. Do check out the link in the description. FPLMate is the code. And yeah, it really helps the channel, really helps me out, and you get an awesome product too. So do check that out if you fancy doing that. But aside from that, thank you so much for watching. I do hope to see you guys on tomorrow's captaincy video, which hopefully should be pretty spicy. If not, I'll see you on Friday's stream for the deadline stream. But yeah, until next time, guys, see you later, mates. Bye-bye.